programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
We need to focus very, very strongly on the vegan movement because that is the enchanted key. Without veganism, nothing is going to happen. It's the only way out of this room, and the sooner we wake up to that obvious fact, the better. Without it, we're sunk.
Watch on to find out more about this urgent message.
Hello beautiful viewers, I am Adeline from sun-kissed Brisbane, Australia. The nature-loving people of Australia, thank you for being so careful to keep our planet pristine. Welcome to part 1 of our 4-part show about an extraordinary man who is described by his admirers as a legend, a hero, a visionary, an angel, and a saint. He traversed the highest reaches of financial success and power, yet gave them all up to follow the path of kindness. He is indeed one of the brightest beacons of light in the history of 21st century environmental protection and humanitarianism. His name is Phillip Wollen. Born in 1950, Mr. Wollen descended from a distinguished British family that had settled in India for generations. When he was 18, he travelled to Australia to explore the outback. He worked part-time to pay his way through college, eventually graduating from the University of Adelaide with a degree in economics. He then joined the global conglomerate Citibank. Through his keen business acumen, daring spirit, and hard work, he made a meteoric rise through the ranks to become the Vice President of Citibank and the General Manager of Citicorp at the young age of 34. At the age of 35, the financial press rated him in the top 40, the brightest and best executives in Australia. It would be easy to say that Phillip Wollen was at the pinnacle of success as he lived life to the fullest and enjoyed all the trappings of success. One day, however, everything changed for him when a client of his took him to one of his businesses, a slaughterhouse. The macabre scenes he saw that day shook him to the core, turning him into a vegetarian on the spot. Something had stirred in him. Soon after that, his research led him to conclude that the dairy and egg industries are, in his own words, just as egregious as the meat industry. This prompted him to adopt a totally vegan lifestyle. Mr. Wollen's metamorphosis from a life of lobster and filet mignon, as he calls it, to a purely plant-based diet is rooted in his deep empathy for the animals. To him, animal suffering is no less perturbing than that of humans. In a speech he delivered in 2017 at the Last Chance for Animals Gala in California, USA, he explained,
I heard the screams of my dying father as his body was ravaged by the many cancers that killed him. I realized I'd heard those screams before. In the slaughterhouse, on the cattle ships to the Middle East, and a dying mother whale as a harpoon explodes in her brain as she calls out to her calf. Their cries were the cries of my father. They were identical. And I discovered that when we suffer as equals.
We human beings torture and kill 2 billion sentient, living, loving animals every week. We stab and suffocate 1 billion ocean animals every 8 hours. 10,000 entire species are wiped out every year because of the actions of one species. And we now face the 6th mass extinction in cosmological history. If any other organism did that, a biologist would call it a virus. It is a crime of unimaginable proportions. By 2048, all our fisheries will be dead, the lungs and the arteries of the earth. Oceans sequester more CO2 than all the forests of the world put together. On this basis, if any of these algorithms are correct, it means no child under the age of 5 is ever going to reach retirement age. Now, if that does not chill your blood.
It certainly does. In order to alleviate the suffering of the animals and to help save the planet, Mr. Wollen decided at the age of 40 to leave his high-flying lifestyle and become a venture capitalist for good causes, as he calls himself.
By the time I'd reached the age of 40, and during my travels, I'd seen corruption and cruelty so egregious, it affected me profoundly. And I decided then and there to take all the money I'd ever made and give it away with warm hands and die broke. And I have to confess, so far we're right on budget.
The first thing Mr. Wollen did after leaving Citibank was to start an initiative called the Winsome Constance Kindness Trust. The Trust's mission, to quote its mission statement, is to promote kindness towards all beings and enshrine it in the national character. Today, the Trust supports hundreds of non-profit NGOs, non-governmental organisations throughout the world. Some of these organisations are household names now, but were relatively small, fledgling projects when Mr. Wollen took notice and reached out to them. This includes Greenpeace, the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, the Jane Goodall Institute, and the Wilderness Society. Mr. Wollen manages the Trust with the methodology of a venture capitalist, but with benevolence as the yardstick of success.
So about 25 years ago, I decided to do it in a more structured and formal way. I decided I would focus on the 5 fingers, as we call them: children, animals, the environment, the terminally ill, and aspiring youth. But at the same time, I also wanted to be anonymous. So I wanted to fly under the radar to the best extent possible. And I named it the Winsome Constance Kindness Initiative. Winsome being my mother, Constance being my grandmother. So nobody knows that I really exist. So I focus on these 5 fingers, and basically I provide, to the extent that I can and to the extent that it is valuable, I provide money, advice, encouragement, guidance from time to time, and access to my network, to NGOs and activists who, in my judgment, are doing things well. Fundamentally, I guess you could call me a venture capitalist for good causes. I invest my money, time, energy, and resources in trying to achieve a result that is not measured in monetary terms, but ultimately by how many lives are saved.
Kind viewers, let us pause for a moment to pray for the well-being of all the perfect creatures God has blessed us with on earth. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back, loving viewers, as we discover more about Mr. Phillip Wollen's emphasis on the urgency to extend unconditional kindness beyond all boundaries and species.
I've never really counted them, but I guess we have about 500 projects that we support in 40 countries around the world. And they cover a wide range of experiences. Things like shelters, clinics, sanctuaries, hospitals, oncology wards, funding for ships and helicopters, anti-poaching squads, biogas plants, cleaning up the environment, feed fodder, medicines, disaster recovery, seal rescue centers in South Africa, for example, projects in the Middle East. I think we cover all inhabited continents in some respects.
Since all the work related to the Trust is handled by Mr. Wollen and his very supportive wife Trix, the workload can be overwhelming. Hundreds of emails pour in every day, and uninterrupted sleep is rare as the phone rings at odd hours from all corners of the world. To help him oversee everything, he divides the Trust into numerous broad categories that he refers to as silos. For example, one of the silos close to his heart is the Kindness Ocean, exemplified by the anti-whaling operation of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, which went from one small ship to over a fleet of 15 ships with his help. Other silos in the Kindness Trust include the Kindness Farm, Kindness Sky, Kindness Mobile Restaurant, Kindness House, Kindness Street, Kindness Kids, and the Kindness Gold Medal. Mr. Wollen estimates that about 80% of his projects are animal-related, with veganism being a strong common theme among them. He says that this is because the animal-industrial complex represents the most destructive of all human activities by far, and will lead to our demise in short order if we do not take immediate action.
As we all know, that livestock contributes more greenhouse gas emissions than all of transport. Cars, trains, buses, ships, lorries, bikes, the whole lot.
In an interview with famous animal rights activist Joey Carbstrong, a fellow Australian, Mr. Wollen said,
We're running out of time. We need to focus very, very strongly on the vegan movement, because that is the enchanted key. Without veganism, nothing is going to happen. It's the only way out of this room, and the sooner we wake up to that obvious fact, the better. Without it, we're sunk.
Mr. Wollen's sobering message is a recurring theme in the discourses of the world-renowned humanitarian and fully enlightened guide of humankind, Supreme Master Ching Hai. In a 2009 conference, she powerfully addresses this issue.
We are at the point where we must change while there is still time. Otherwise, we will face disastrous consequences and we might lose the whole world, our lives altogether. If we want to receive the mercy of heaven for our life here on earth, we must first be merciful in granting the same dignity and freedom of life to the animals. Only then can we have a return of the environmental balance. So please help us. Help us. Help your loved ones and those around you to all be veg and do good deeds. Thank you so much.
With deep gratitude, we give thanks to Supreme Master Ching Hai, who has lovingly inspired and guided humankind with her wisdom and grace. We thank also Mr. Phillip Wollen for his enduring kindness and wisdom, and look forward to learning more in our subsequent episodes about his many works and projects, bringing compassion and love to the world. For more information on Mr. Phillip Wollen and Winsome Constance Kindness, please visit www.kindnesstrust.com. Kind-hearted viewers, We appreciate your genial company today. Join us again next week on Tuesday, October 1st for our second episode. Coming up next is the Surangama Sutra, 25 Means to Enlightenment, Session 1, Part 2 of 5, on Between Master and Disciples. Right after noteworthy news, please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. May heaven bless you thoroughly, forevermore.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule e suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nossos programas oferecem vários idiomas. Acesse suprememastertv.com/schedule e suprememastertv.com/VE.
हमारे कार्यक्रम पेश किए जाते हैं कई भाषाओं में। कृपया देखें suprememastertv.com/schedule और suprememastertv.com/VE。
我们的节目提供多种语言，请看 suprememastertv.com/schedule 和 suprememastertv.com/VE。
Rancangan kami menawarkan banyak bahasa. Sila kunjungi suprememastertv.com/kehadapan-schedule dan suprememastertv.com/kehadapan-VE.
برامجنا متوفرة بالعديد من اللغات. يرجى زيارة suprememastertv.com/schedule و suprememastertv.com/VE.
Наши программы предлагают много языков. Пожалуйста, посмотрите suprememastertv.com/schedule и suprememastertv.com/VE.
Acara kami menyediakan banyak bahasa. Silakan lihat suprememastertv.com/schedule dan suprememastertv.com/VE.